Hello everyone, in my final major project, I am to explore masculinity from a male perspective in a contemporary pluralistic gender context. Firstly, I have chosen to start with hegemonic masculinity as an entry point. The reason for this comes from the damage done to my mother by the male chauvinism of my father in my family of origin. It is an ideology that believes that men are superior to women and therefore men should be more dominant over women. With his work in a parallel universe, the artist Ilya Skala satirizes this discrimination and tries to make the male community reflect on it. The fact is that there is still a lot of gender discrimination against women in society, both in terms of life and work, and I found that this discrimination comes from the subconscious of man. Through further research, I discovered a toxic masculinity. On the one hand, this toxic masculinity is socially damaging in terms of misogyny, homophobia, and violence. On the other hand, it can also cause depression, stress, and substance abuse in men themselves. In toxic masculinity, for example, the photographer Max Hasperger puts an otherwise childish young boy in an adult blazer and forces him to behave in a mature and stable. It is as if boys are taught from an early age that men should be strong and not soft like girls, or they will be laughed at by those around them. Therefore, in every male's subconscious, the idea that men are stronger than women is ingrained in them from childhood and even unchallenged. This means that man can also be trapped in a cage constructed by a patriarchal society. I, for example, have been constantly pulled back and forth between my own image of masculinity and my subconscious image of my mother's influence on me within the cage of the symbolic order constructed by a patriarchal society. So I took a portrait of myself. The portraits show the gradual transformation from my own image to that of my mother through the sport of makeup techniques. I wanted to reflect on the toxic nature of masculinity in my consciousness due to my mother's influence on me, by mapping the meaning of resistance from my subconscious portrait of my mother onto my own body as a man. In the meantime, I have created a rectangular frame installation to hang all the photographs. I wrapped blue yarn around all 12 stainless tubes that make up the frame. I chose a blue yarn because my memory of the blue bottled water cooler that fell to the floor as it pushed each other during my father's first domestic violence against my mother became my first impression of the male chauvinism present in my father. The element of tightly wound blue yarn represented to me both maternal softness and paternal control. Secondly, on each of the 4 sides of the installation, front to back, left to right, I used dozens of imperceptible fish wires that were invisible to the naked eye to connect from the stainless tube above to the stainless tube below, thus creating an imperceptible barrier. The inspiration for this came from the science fiction novel The Three-Body Problem, in which scientists, in order to cut a shape into countless pieces without realizing it, pulled up many thin nanowires in the path of the shape, which was then silently cut apart by these nanowires as it moved forward. The barrier is a metaphor for the current situation of men being imprisoned under the rules of a patriarchal society, where men seem to live comfortably. But if you try to break out of these confines, you will be hurt. To hang the photographs and to enhance the overall cage feel of the installation, I've placed a piece of wire mesh at the top of the installation to increase the visual impact. Finally, at the bottom of the work, I've placed a sculpture of a human face made of mirrored material. In Deleuze and Guattari's concept, the unfolding of meaning has to be symbolized by a white wall on which it is written, while the activity of consciousness is placed in a black hole within which its patient is released. The intersection of the black hole and the white wall can be seen as a human face, for the face can both express meaning and contain consciousness. The human face is therefore a system like the black hole and the white wall, and the system, in order to function properly, will reject all parameters at default. Thus, the mass face, which is patriarchal, becomes in today's society a system of black holes and white walls, that is, social rules. They take the initiative, spying on and rapping the face of women to secure their hegemonic position. At the bottom of the installation, I have placed a blue rectangular display block and placed projections within it that play a flowing light effect. I have tried to create a visual effect similar to the rippling flow of water, expressing my exploration of the possibilities of my own perceived gender flow. The above is all of my research on the FMP project. Thank you for watching.